All right, class. So once you have your board set up with your titles, layers, and initial diagrams, the next step is to edit those diagrams for clarity, and again, turn them into a diagram. So we're going to use line types to turn some of these lines into dash lines. We're going to use arrows to bring in an arrow end for these lines. And we're going to bring in a fill as an image for the final step result so that we can illustrate that better. And we'll also work with some line weight so that we can give these a proper outline as well. So, but first, what I like to do is actually line these diagrams up. And I'm going to create a new, let's see what's in this layer right here. Okay, I see. So it actually brought with me these layers right here, which I think it's okay. Right? But actually, all of these right here, I can show you how to make sure that these are in the right layer. Because remember that I created my titles layer right here, and I copy pasted them from a different file. So that's why I have these extra layers right here. But if you select the objects and then you see this little square right here, actually dump it on the actual layer. That's how you change an object's layer. And actually now I don't have anything here, so I will go ahead and delete that and delete this right here. And all of my titles are now on the right layer, which I can lock if needed. I'm realizing that maybe I'll create another layer right here. I'll put right here maybe notes because this is a title. So I'm gonna change the layer right here. That's a title that I don't want to lock. So I'm gonna give them its own layer right here. And I'm gonna create another layer right here, and I'm gonna call this volume A. Volume A. VOL dash A. Because I want to line these drawings up. I don't know if you guys can see, right, but they're kind of like going down like that. I actually want to do an alignment like that. But in order to do so, I need to group them first. So I'll select that and I'll group them. All right, so I'll do that. Now, unfortunately, though, you see when I select all of these components in this drawing, I select all of the layers, and keep an eye on this corner right here, because once I press Control G to group them, notice how everything gets sent into one single layer, which is not great because we lose our layers. So that's why, if that's going to be the case, then I want to make sure that it's in the proper layer. So I'll give them its own layer so that all of these diagrams are on the VOL-A layer. So again, I select this right here, Control G for group, select all of this right here, Control G for group. Okay, now I have all of these ones right here as a group. Let's make sure that they're in the right layer, which that should be the VOL-A. Then once we do that, I can select them all. And then I'm going to come over here in this tool right here, vertical alignment on the center. I click on that. Notice how it neatly aligns all of my diagrams for me. And I can even go over here to the horizontal distribute left, and it distributes them proportionately as well. I can do a center right here, whatever looks maybe a little bit more, you know, even. I actually did the center for this one right here. So I'm going to set them over here. Okay. Next, I can go ahead and double click into each of these diagrams right here. And I can actually maybe, tweak a little bit the line weight so that we have that contrast that we like to have. So again, I give them a thicker outline on the perimeter and a thinner one on the inside. I select these layers right here, and they're on a 0.5. On the next diagram, I can double click on it, and then a neat tool right here, I can go to select same fill and stroke, and it's going to select everything that it's the same fill and stroke, in this case the orange. And then that's going to be my my dash lines. So I'm going to give them a 0.75 as well. And then I'm going to give it a stroke. So I'm going to click right here, a dash line and stroke. So I click on stroke, turn on dash lines over here. And I guess in this case I have a 6 dash and a 4 gap. I think that's kind of working, but not quite. Select same fill and stroke. I think I like maybe a shorter dash, maybe like a 4, and maybe like a 3. Let's see how that looks. Sure, that works. That works well. That works well. Again, I want to go ahead and actually the interior lines, I want to go ahead and give them a 0.5 so they're thinner. And I'm realizing that I'm missing a line over here, so I can draw that from that anchor point to that anchor point, making sure that the dash line, though, if I right click on it, I bring to arrange, bring to front, so that it's on the front of that, and that those are thicker lines. Let's see if that's the right way. Yes, it is. So I'm doing a 0.5 for the inside, a 1 from the outside, and then a 0.75 for the dashed, which we can actually even explore. I don't know if that should be maybe like a 0.5, so that it's not so intrusive, right? So why don't we do that? Select a dash line, same fill and stroke, and rather than a 0.75, we can do a 0.5. Okay, just like that. And next are our arrows. So if again I double click on that object, select that or pink line that we had done previously in Rhino. I think those can be the 0.75, right? So that again there's a slight difference in thickness. And then we're gonna go back to stroke, and then we bring in an arrowhead. Right, so over here it says arrowhead. We'll click on this, and I would recommend something clean. I personally like 10. Sometimes it can be a little bit too small, but that's okay. Notice how it's actually pointing the wrong way though. So I can easily change that if I click over here, swap start and end of arrows. So I do that right there. And we have our first diagram. We have our first diagram. I can do that over here as well. So now I become maybe a little bit fast. I can select all of that, right? I can do those are 0.5. And I can select all of these ones over here by selecting one, going to same, fill and stroke. I can actually even, let's see if this works. Once I have some settings already that I like, I can press I for eyedropper, and I think I can match these right here. There you go. So I can just inherit those properties using the eyedropper. So I'll repeat that. So I selected that little segment, go to select, same, fill and stroke, right? Notice that I selected everything, and then I press my letter I, right, as in Ivan, and then that little target comes up. I select right here. Notice how it over here, right? You have those pink letter that says path. I click there. Notice how it inherits those settings, which is the dashed and the thickness. And then I can do the same for the arrows. Select them, press I, and then it matches that, the thickness, but it didn't give us an arrowhead. That's okay though. I can come back to stroke, arrowheads. I'm just gonna select one right here. Again, I'm not really sure. You know, some are right, some are not. So the ones that are not, I need to select it, go back to stroke. switch the arrow direction on that one, stroke, switch the arrow direction on that one. I could have probably done it together, meaning that I could have selected both and switched the arrow direction with one click. Okay, so our diagrams are taking shape. We haven't saved this actually, so don't forget about that. File, save as. You can find our location. Working on this file right here. Click save. Click OK. Okay. And the last part for this diagram, at least, is to bring in some color. And we do that through an image that we slide on the back of our last diagram. We'll do it on the last one so that we can highlight that one as that result. We'll go to Rhino. I'll come back to my form. I will make sure that I am on the right view, set view, isometric southeast. Zoom in there again. If I go to render, and I don't think you need to do I wouldn't do a render, full render for all of them. It just, I don't know if it's needed, and we don't need to use that time for that. And actually, you meant the right one. I think so. Okay, because I copy pasted them. But probably for you, you're not gonna have, your material applied. But just click on the material over here, and I try to match the color. You can give it any color, but again, let's make it match. So I can use this eyedropper right here. Whoops, click right here. Notice that I click on the eyedropper, and notice that I can navigate anywhere on my screen, and it matches that color. So you can so I think what I did is I matched I think the lines, but I can't remember what I matched. But anyway, you can give it the color that you're looking for. I think I did I remember. I think I matched the layer color. So I came over here and I matched this color right here. There you go. There must be an easier way to do this, but for right now, that's what I can think of. I'll do OK. Select the object. Select. If the settings look a little bit weird, it might be your render settings. Like I said, we don't need to do a full render, but again, having your sun on or off makes a difference, and having your skylight on and off makes a difference as well, even though again we're not rendering. So I did have to tweak that, and I think I actually tweaked my sun settings. Again, it can give you a different result. So but once we're good with that, we can just do an export. Now the thing is that it's gonna export our lines. So I'm gonna do, I think the fastest thing, there's a way that you can turn them off on the render display mode, but I'm gonna make a copy of it over here. Make sure that I set myself on the right view, southeast, zoom selected over here, and well, I can do the capture to file. Let's see if it works to capture to clipboard. The thing is that I think it's going to have a background. Let's see. Select transparent background. I can sometimes get it to work and sometimes not. Let's come over here. I would create, nope, I think we're in the right layer right here, and paste. See, it didn't give me a transparent background. So what we have to do in that case, we have to do a capture to file rather than to clipboard. Capture to view, capture to file. And now we can do a transparent background. We click OK. And I find the location. I think I had done already some. I changed this JPEG to a PNG, and we can call this the color, COL1 for image, color image export. We click OK. We come to our diagrams, and then I'm going to place myself on the BOLA layer. Go to File, Place, and there it is, the image. Bring it, and now we have a transparent background. Now we actually want it, of course, to be smaller, so hold Shift, scale it down, bring it over here, and you see something else that we actually want the image to be underneath the lines. So as long as they're on the same layer, I can right click on it, arrange, send to back, and I've done that. Hold Shift, resize it slightly so that it fits there, and it might be just fine. Okay, so we have our diagrams. The next thing would be to add our labels. So we're going to do that with the operations. So the first object, of course, is the base volume. The next title right here is going to be the, in my case, it was the shear. I can hold Alt, click and drag, and hold Shift so that I make a copy that it's aligned. Then for me, it was taper. And then the last one is result. And I think I like to do these maybe a little bit smaller, 16. Kind of like that. Okay. And we have your first diagrams, sequential operation diagrams. Okay, so I'll go ahead and file, save, and we'll come back and take you guys through the next couple of steps.